Hey, I am Crunk Chocolate, part of Shades of Blues podcast content season, bringing you an episode every other day through the summer, where other podcasts, they're on holiday, kicking it on the beach on vacation. Here we are. Our feed is cranked up to 10. Put some respect on our name. Shout out to Birdman. Represent is where we can relax a little. All season means no need for tribalism. So you depending on who we bring it on, there's temporary truces. I can bring on friends, familia, part of Shady Gang, the homies, like the guests we have today. I'm able to bring on most dope people, and we can just talk about how they fell in love with football and the clubs that they support. If you're watching on YouTube, please like that video, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment after the episode, or even when you're listening, if something just pops up and you're like, ooh, let me type that in real quick. Leave multiple comments. Just light that stuff up like it's a live stream. I don't care. I love it. I'll answer each question. Try me. I dare you. For those who prefer the audio experience, rate and review us on your podcasting app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, all those digital streaming platforms. But today, we have such a great guest for you. New York stand up. I'm so excited to be kicking it with them in just like 2 months. Oh my God. Shout out. We're taking a trip to Italy, We're gonna be killing it. I won't be doing any more awful accents, so don't worry about that. Shady Gang. Please give it up for host, creator of why does my brain Curva Mundial Podcast melting? Shady Gang, give it up for Seth.
Hello everybody. You were giving me the Suge Knight intro right there. I felt like it was like if you don't like the producer, all up in the video. Which I hate to say it now in this climate, Suge may have been right. Like what the fuck?
He was the one in the right.
I mean, but I was feeling that, and you forgot the name of the podcast, and it's great. It's great. You better not edit that out. Leave that in. I just also want to point out that's because Crunk here is so tired by working for all of you. Okay, he is giving you all his energy that my friend here has managed to forget the name of my show for every time. And it's funny, and I love it because every time I've come on, it's been like 3 wonderful, interesting strikes. In a weird way. Spells my name wrong. The first graphic of the first time I ever appear on Shades of Blue, which was like back in October last year. Second go around, books me to come on. Don't even show up because he's like, yo, I'm on vacation. I don't know him with the other guys, which is, they held it down. They were great. Nobody was missed. And now today, just forgetting the name of the pod. So it's okay. I don't take it personal. I love it, but it also is a testament to how hard my friend here is working. So I hope you all are enjoying all of this. And this is just how it's starting. This is how today is going to go.
In the show that I did miss, it was a mess.
Look, you booked me, it's always going to be a mess. It's kind of like if you watch like the Conan O'Brien on Hot Ones thing. It's sort of like that. It's like I will put chicken in my pocket. Like that's it. I will.
No, you did, and you did great. The guests rolled with the punches. It was just part of the experience. It's one of those things. I guess I should have told people I wasn't going to be there. I don't know. I didn't think about it because it's like I'm not. There's like 5 of us, so it's like I understand I am who I am in the show, but I was just like, yeah, I'll be gone for a couple weeks. It'll be fine.
Yeah, but it's like, here's the thing. It's like going to see Wu-Tang and like RZA don't show up. It's like because here's the thing. It's like it didn't faze me at all. I'm a huge Ghostface fan. I don't need it's like I like the rest of the other guys, to be honest. So, and it was the same thing. It was just like, oh, all right, cool, all right. No, it was fine. It was totally fine. It was a great show. They held it down. It was super fun. And I felt like I got shot out of a cannon, which is normally what I do anyway. So, I just felt right at home. I felt bad for them, not because you weren't there, because they had to deal with me. So that's really what I felt sorry for. It wasn't that, of course, we missed you, but it wasn't like,
Yes,
man, like you don't need to be there. But the other lads, like, oh boy, I'm sorry, guys. Love you all. Did a great job. All of you did
hey,
great.
he was giving us a history lesson on Italy, on Italian football. I was here for it. I was. I mean, I was paying attention. I was there. I just wasn't there.
Even when he's working, he's not working. So here you go, hardest working man in the podcast world.
Shout out, appreciate it.
Shout out that to you. But yeah, no, I'm happy to be on Represent. I love this idea. I think this is really cool. I think this is really awesome. I love what you guys are doing. So anytime, there's always even you. This is how much I love you. You spell my name wrong. You ain't there, and you forget the name of my show. That I'll still come on. I will still come on. There was always a yes. Always a yes. That's how good you sons of bitches are. So that's it. That's it. The show is over now. I will see you all in a couple weeks, and that's it.
This is easily the most chaotic episode of Represent, and I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna have so much fun clipping this.
I mean, you better. Look,
Oh my gosh!
we're in the off season.
Exactly.
Kylian Mbappe today has said that if he ever comes to Italy, it'll be to my club. We have cheap ass owners, but we ain't getting them, so we'll get him in 2045. But a boy can dream. So like that's the energy that I'm coming in with today.
I love
Is
it.
that like at some point, like my favorite young player of the last decade could be wearing the red and black. Like that's where I'm coming at that. So like I'm carrying that energy with me for a long time. Like this is it. So this began today. Well, it's been brewing for a year or two, but now it's like he's a free agent,
Yeah.
and he's just like, I love Italy. We're all the Mbappe family are all Milan fans, but that ain't happening. We have no money, so we we'll get like the fucking Walmart clearance sale version of Mbappe, where it's like a discount on the discount. Dude will show up with like I don't know a broken foot, and that's when we'll sign him, and it'll be fine. We'll still be excited. He'll probably sell like more jerseys than anyone else, and it'll be great.
Just give him a few wineries. He'll be fine.
That's already smarter than the average Italian soccer owner, because that's what they should be fucking doing. Because every celebrity's getting into liquor these days. You are in a country filled with it. Start figuring out ways to parlay contracts like everyone else does. Find these little rat holes. You've all seen Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not saying doing shady business practices. Don't do that. But, find ways to make things a little bit more attractive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, PSG did it with getting Mbappe. I'm sorry, Neymar, a bunch of hotel chains. Like, you'll figure it out. If you're smart enough to make $1 billion and own a football team, you should be smart enough to figure out these fucking contracts.
You should be smart enough. You should.
I'm sorry, I'm already swearing. But yeah, it's just this is it. We haven't even really officially started. So I'm giving your show back to you.
This is a sign that we are actually friends, because this is what friends do. Like give each other shit, and we're just like, what are we talking about? Yeah, what are we talking about? So introducing yourself, I feel like even though people have gotten a pretty good feel of who you are.
So yeah, my name is Sal Bono. I'm the host and creator of the football podcast, soccer podcast, foosball, calcio, whatever you call it in your region of the world. It's not wrong. It's the beautiful game that we all love. I'm the host and creator of that, our favorite sports podcast. It's called Curva Mundial, and it's about the fans of the beautiful game. So it's not about scores. It's not the things that they do here on the Thursday night live stream. It is simply why you fell in love with the team that you love. But I kind of trick my guests into telling me their whole life story. So like the tagline is essentially like or the log line, if you will, think Anthony Bourdain in a soccer jersey. I could be as blunt as him. I'm probably as pissed off about everything as he was. But yeah, but it's like that. Like I don't know, in a weird, there's a small corner of my world in my mind where I still have hope for humanity in 2024. And I feel like it's a beautiful thing, like finding that in fans of this game from all over the place, whether it is from a city fan in Middle America, who has lived across all of Middle America, or it's a Parma fan in Iceland, or a Santos fan from Eastern Europe, or just a Inter Miami fan in Milan, Italy. It's like they exist. Everybody exists, and it's really cool seeing that. The thesis of the thing has always been that to show that we're more alike than we are different, and it's been fun, and that's been fun, kind of like subtly proving that point. But there's a lot of musicians on because I'm a big music nerd, and I used to be a music journalist way back in the day. Um, an actual lifetime ago, half my life ago, I used to be a music journalist. So I miss talking to bands, I miss interviewing bands and musicians. So I have a lot of them on, and it's cool and it's fun and it's just a great conversation. I think it's a great conversation. You can tell me it's fucking terrible, but you have this schmuck hosting it, and essentially having people just again tell me their life story, whether and what their countries are like, what their cities are like. We dive into politics, we dive into social issues, we dive into things that most of the time doesn't really talk about football, but it's football centric. So it's there's a little bit for everybody. And you could be a brand new fan, you could be a lifelong fan. I don't care. You're coming on. You love the game, you're coming on. And if I have to find you interesting, like there's that. So I guess there is a little gatekeeping. Is that I have to find you.
I have to find, which
Yeah.
is fair. That's my rule. I don't bring anyone on just to bring someone on. Half their chunk of the people that I've asked on who don't even do this. It's just like,
Right.
no, I just know you'll be great, so just come on. And they're like, okay, fine. And then they come on and they're great. And it's just like, see, told you, it's not that bad. And
here he goes again. Here he goes. Look, it's like, are you drinking before this?
no, because
So my favorite team is
because
AC Milan.
no, oh no, I know.
Like, where am I going? I'm just gonna fucking start.
Because I was trying to decide where I was gonna go, because for some reason my brain just kept wanting to say Salvio Mundial. Like Salvio Mundial. And I was like, that's not it. Salvio. And so that's why my brain was just frozen. I was like, okay.
Salvia Mundial sounds like a beautiful French delicacy. It pairs well with a Chardonnay.
It does.
You have to make sure your pinky is no, it's the British. But whatever. It's
Like,
it's a lovely dish, and I'm sure the French waiter that gives it to you is probably a jerk. So
yes, 1,000%.
Oh,
He hears my English come out, and he's just like, "Oh, what do you want?"
No.
I'm not even gonna waste French on you because it will be above you, and you won't know what I'm saying anyway. So I will talk to you in English and make you feel stupid.
Shout out to the French for just doing that really well with all of us. But yeah, so I host this podcast. It's great. You should check it out. It's on all the good platforms. The same
All
ones.
the good platforms, huh?
All the good platforms.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. It's on all the same ones you're on. I just don't do video things. I got no patience for that. It's wherever you find Shades of Blue, you'll find me. Just punch in Curva Mundial. CurvaMundial. It's all there. The logo is a throwback to the 1970s FIGC, which is the Italian federation, like their logo from the 70s, because it was kind of cool. And then I have like a secondary logo that I use for that, like throwback to the 90s era. But anyway,
nerd.
nerd. there's like 11 episodes a season, 11 episodes for the 11 guys on 11 people on the field, because there's women that also play football too, Sal. It's all like little subtle things. I'm an Azzurri, the Italian national team supporter. I'm an AC Milan fan. That's my club. And there was a script. See, here's the thing. In my defense, you sent me a bunch of questions in a script form, so I kind of thought that's where we were gonna go. And we didn't. We didn't go anywhere near that.
Well, I mean, it's there and we will get to it, but we'll get to it.
We're only 15 minutes in. That's it. We're only 15 minutes in.
There have literally been represent episodes that are 27 minutes. we're at 15 and we're at question 2.
Right. I mean, I at this point have lasted longer than like Anthony Scaramucci in the White House. Like, remember him? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, calculated throwback right there. Okay, so
hey, shout out to the people who know what that joke was.
Yes.
Look at you staying tapped in.
Look at me shitting my pants. But it's okay. It's that's what I'm saying. I do this podcast because there's a small hope of humanity in my soul that I don't want to lose. Like it's this big. I want to grow it back to as big as it was when I was a child, because I feel like everything I do is for like that 6-7-year-old watching things that didn't have the internet because it wasn't invented yet, not because like financial things. It was just fucking wasn't around.
Ew, were you poor?
I can't say it was like a sob story. It was like, I'm fucking old. Like, what do you want from me? It just like wasn't a thing in the early 90s. Like, people that like whatever. But anyway, your audience probably like, where's Jordan sneakers? I grew up watching Michael Jordan. Like, there's, so I have that on you. Jake Paul's gonna fight like one of my all-time heroes this summer, Mike Tyson. I've watched Tyson in his prime. So it's like, I'm okay. I'm okay not growing up with the internet. But there was like all like this, like there are all these cool things now that like you couldn't get back in the day, that I'm all like, oh, everything I do is for that little kid. That just none of these things were available. So yeah, talking about football though is one of them. Because like that wasn't a thing back then. I'm bringing it around, baby. I'm bringing it around.
Look at you.
Look at this. See? So, ask me question 2 before I fucking go off. I'm trying to save your voice. You're exhausted.
He's protecting me, everybody.
Protecting him at all costs. And in that aspect, I'm making a dumbass out of myself.
No, this is so fun. This is what I missed by not being there on the last Lit stream. This is what I missed out. I'm double dipping. I'm getting you on for the content season, and I'm making up for what I missed in the Lit stream.
That's it. This is your fault. It's all your fault.
So the next set of questions: overrated, underrated. We'll start with overrated. An overrated thing about football, it can be about the sport, culture, fandom, rules, general opinions. You go for it.
Yeah, a lot. Overrated thing about football, number 1, British punditry. I'm pretty sure that they just any network hires anybody with an English accent that doesn't do their homework and puts them on television and spews a bunch of propaganda, and therefore have people convinced that, like, I don't know, Declan Rice is the next Roberto Baggio. I have a lot of issues with that. So that's definitely number 1. Number 2, MLS thinking it's like a real league. And MLS fans thinking they're like, I think MLS fans are awesome. Like, they're the lifeblood of soccer in this country. But like, yes, the level of playing has risen exponentially since I remember watching the first MLS game in the beautiful day glow outfits that they had, and the penalty kicks where you had to run.
That was lit though. They run up at each other.
I think that was the greatest contribution.
Gladiator football.
Yes, it was awesome. I think FIFA should adopt that. That should be the fucking penalty shootout. Like they for a minute, like they were doing things that were so uniquely their own that they have now like become so cookie cutter that it's boring to me. And it's like Messi's amazing and making this league what it is, but like, what's your game plan when he leaves? And it's exciting because he's not playing your cookie cutter ball. I feel bad for the fans. Like, the fans deserve like an amazing product year in and year out, week in, week out, with or without Lionel Messi. So that's those are my, I guess, like overrated. Another overrated thing. I don't know. I'm probably gonna come up with another one eventually, but those are definitely the top two. Definitely the top
Hey,
two.
whatever pops up, just let me know. But
Yes, I'm just gonna
you
blurt
shoot
it out.
shooting at Declan Rice was crazy. I did not see that coming.
But like,
Well,
I've got no. And here's the thing: I have no beef with Declan Rice. I think he's incredible. I do. I do think he is awesome. But like, if you listen to like every British pundit that is not James Horncastle, because James is brilliant, okay. But if you listen to the talking heads on television, the two Robbies, I can fuck with the two Robbies. Those guys know what's up. All right. But like, I don't know, your Jamie Carragher's, your uh Gary Neville's, like, Harry, please. Like that whole like late 90s, early 2000s class of footballers that have now gone into punditry, and all their clips go viral every week. None of them watch anything outside of their own country, which is fine. And again, Declan Rice is a great footballer, but he's not the second coming. He's not he's not Iniesta. He's not Andrea Pirlo. He's not Zidane. He's none of those things. He's a very good footballer. And let him just be a very good footballer. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, the thing is that the propaganda and the inflation, like, they'll have you believe that Everton is like the worst club ever.
they do make you feel that way.
But it's like, well, wait a minute. And no disrespect to you, your club has 115 charges against them, and I don't see any points getting knocked
Yeah,
off.
motherfucker.
Yeah, because you have really good fucking lawyers. That's why. But like, they make you believe that like Everton's like a really bad club, and I voted like Everton the surprise team of the season last year because with all the points and everything stacked against them, they still like managed to get out of relegation and did it quite comfortably. Like, they started showing up. Like, once the more points got deducted, they were like, we're fighting for survival. Like, I give that credit. I love good grit. That team is good grit. Again, it's like they'll make you think that like Arsenal are gonna win. They're not. Like, I'm sorry. It's just like not a thing in their DNA. It sucks because like they have a great team. They do. They might win in 2 years when Pep Guardiola resigns. But like, I don't know. Like, they could, but the thing is like they truly like, the propaganda is just so ridiculous. These are also completely terrible examples. And Arsenal are a very good team, and they should have won this year. How they didn't is beyond me, but it's also the most like
I have
Arsenal thing
no
to
idea.
happen. So it's like,
Exactly.
it's like, okay, at some points it's like I can't really fault the pundits because when it's your own shooting yourself in the foot. But um, like the whole talk of like it being the best league in the world, I don't know. I don't know if there is a best league in the world. It definitely is the most successful. I think
Yes.
who's ever running EPL in terms of the business aspect, those people are genius. They've understand how to tap into an American market. It took them ages, but like sell that sport to America. NBC does a tremendous job. Everything about their infiltration of America to get audiences to wake up in California at ungodly hours to watch a team is huge. Like, that's genius. I think it's genius. I think what they're doing, their business model is great. So therefore, and it's the richest league outside of obviously the Saudi league. But does it translate to the best football? I don't know. Um, like, I just don't know. I think this summer should be the telltale sign of that, because with all these phenomenal players playing in England, with the exception of their best player, Jude Bellingham, playing in Spain, their second best player, Harry Kane, playing in Germany, not winning anything, which is just, that's also speaking of DNA. But like,
Yeah.
this should be the year that will be the telltale sign if the EPL is the best in the world. Because if you can't put all those pieces of huge talent together and take home a trophy, then what's all this for? Like, I know Italy's problems, and Italy knows its problems. Spain knows its problems. Germany knows its issues. France understands that, like, you can make fun of our league all you want, but we're going farther in Champions League than you think, and we have such depth of talent that play all across the world. And by the way, there's a whole class of kids that are coming up that are also going to be the next talented bunch. Portugal understands their issues and also knows how to like fight because they're a tiny country and don't have a lot of money and use their resources brilliantly. Where it's like everybody was hot to trot for Belgium for all these years. And it's like, oh, what happened? Like the greatest class ever for Belgium didn't do anything. Those guys that ever played together, they don't know what it's. You think Kevin De Bruyne knows how to play with Eden Hazard? They know how to play against each other. And there's a huge difference in that. Like, that's why you see Croatia go to a World Cup final in Russia. And go deep in the Euros for all those years. Those guys, before they went to Europe, learned to play with each other. They also know what it means to fight for your flag and for yourself and for things that are bigger than you. So it's like, I don't know what to make of the EPL in terms of like where it ranks in best leagues. I think it's overrated in terms of calling it the best league. So there's another.
There's your third one.
There's my. That was it. Underrated. I'm gonna go underrated. I think the Portuguese league is underrated. I think that needs a hell of a lot more shine.
Yes.
There's like 3-4 teams. Obviously, it's like Benfica, Sporting, Porto, and Braga in the last couple of years has been great. But like, it's a powerhouse. It's a powerhouse of talent, and the stadiums are all beautiful. The country is amazing.
Yes, and they're going crazy for their teams.
Yes, and it's like, and why does their national team always do well? It's like there's like, and you could Ronaldo or not. It's like they win a Euro with him injured on the ground, so it's like he contributed by like cheering them on, I guess, but like that wasn't his game. So I think I think that's an underrated thing. The City, of course, is underrated. That's always because it's just. To me, that's the most fun league because, as I said on my last episode of the Shades of Blue, my last episode, like I fucking run the show. The last time I was on Shades of Blue, I had said, I was like, look, Italians, what we do really well is the opera, right? And the modern opera is the football stadium. That's the opera house now. San Siro, Stadio Olimpico, Juventus Stadium, like all these cathedrals of football that are crumbling, that are older than me, that the last time they were refurbished was in 1990, with the exception of the Juventus Stadium. They're all falling apart. The Stadio Diego Maradona in Napoli, it floods. There's like a moat in it. It's ridiculous. But it's still, to me, the most exciting. Even in the 9 years that Juventus went on a tear and won the league for 9 years in a row, it was still super exciting for me. I hated it, but like it was still very exciting for me. And I think the quality of football was great because in that 9 years, you did see Juventus go to a Champions League final twice, and at the point, they were stacked up against the best teams in the world, whether it was Real Madrid or Barcelona in their finals where they lost miserably. But like as a thing to wave the flag for the league, like that was huge. I'll give them the credit there. And Inter Milan against City, and I said this the first go around I was on Shades of Blue, which was to me like the better team lost that day. And I'm not saying that as a City A fan. Like, I thought Inter outplayed you all. It's just that, fuck, you guys know how to score goals. Like, that's it. You know how to score goals. And the talent that team had this season was even better than the talent that they had the year they went to Champions League. So I was actually, all my chips were like, yo, they're going to win this thing now. And they didn't get as far. But, like, But like, I think like I shocked the world last week when Atalanta beat Bayern Leverkusen 3-0.
Let's
Yes.
go.
Yeah, let's go is right. And it's like, and I tweeted out because I was saying, if you watch City on, you watch Atalanta, this is not a
Mhm.
surprise.
Yeah.
This is not a, and look, Leverkusen is a great team. We know that. Okay.
Mhm.
They won how many games? They didn't lose how, like, that was the most goals they conceded in a single match all season, was
Mhm.
that final. It kind of also showed that, like, as phenomenal as Xabi Alonso was in his first season, he still has a lot of growing up to do as a manager. I think
Mhm.
that game could actually have been more of a blessing for him than a hindrance. So if I'm a Leverkusen fan, I'm just gonna sit there and go like, all right, cool, we lost this, but next season we're coming for everyone. We're coming
Mhm.
for everyone's throats because it looks like they're all gonna stay intact. But like, you get a team like Atalanta who hasn't won in like 60 some odd years, who has a budget like, I don't know what Ronaldo makes in one Instagram post is their entire season budget. And like, they're just constantly churning out talent after talent after talent. It's like, that's exciting. Like, that's exciting. That to me is what you're watching this for. La Liga, when there was the Messi and Ronaldo quote unquote rivalry, was awesome. Don't get me wrong, because there was a third horse in that race, and there was Atletico there. Now
Mm.
we're starting to see it with Getafe, which is I'm sorry. Is it Getafe? Is the third, they won third place?
Are you shorting Girona?
Girona. I'm sorry.
Are you
Getafe was
doing that to us? Wow, that's shade to
Yeah,
CFG,
I'm
baby.
sorry.
Is that
Yeah,
what we
you're right.
doing?
The other city-owned club. Yeah, Girona. But it's like, I think it's, I think like that's interesting. Like, that to me, like, there's storylines there. I think that's why people made such a big deal about someone like Roberto De Zerbi coming to Brighton, getting them to Champions League for the first time. Because there's a storyline there. Newcastle, yes, gets a very wealthy state-owned, state-run club now, very wealthy owners, but they go to Champions League. Like, that's a storyline. It's cool not seeing the favorites all the time.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Um, so it's like, that for me is what makes football exciting, and that's what kind of why I've always been firmly against a super league, for that reason. So there's a long answer to that second question. There's like 10 questions you're asking, so I'm gonna try and keep it short.
What made you fall in love with football?
My family, hands down, being an Italian American, um, first generation. I was born, I say, with like two things when I entered the earth, which was I was given a name, and I was given like an Italian soccer scarf, which I still have. It's 40 years old. Um, uh, it's and I, like, everybody was always like gaga about it. And then in 1990, Italy hosted the World Cup. I was 6 years old, and I thought I could watch my family who went to games on TV. I thought like,
Yeah.
oh, like I can see my uncles. What do I know? But there was but I, because my name, even if like no one knew anything about me, right, and they just saw my name on this video podcast, immediately it's like, oh, he's not Irish, he's definitely not German. So it's like, I can't hide my Italianness, and that's fine, and I love it, and I'm proud of it. Um, but like, growing up, like, I was always weird because I was like the weird kid with a weird name, the ethnic name with the smelly lunches. If you saw my big fat Greek wedding, I kind of equate it to that. Like, when she brings like the lunches to school, everyone's like, "What's that?" She's like, "Oh, it's like tzatziki sauce," and they're like, "Huh?" Now it's like, it's like, why does your bologna have mold on it? It's not mold, it's mortadella. Like, what is wrong with you? And now it's like mortadella is like a thing, so it's like, sorry kids, I was ahead of the curve. But the 1990 World Cup, like, was like my gateway drug. Like, I was essentially told like, you're not allowed to cheer for any other country but Italy as a, and I had no problems with that. We were amazing. 82, we win the World Cup, 2 years before I'm born. But like, 1990 rolls around, like, we had such a stacked squad, and then there's a dude with my name, Salvatore Scalacci, and he had the greatest like goal celebration. He happened to be from Palermo, which is the city my dad is from, and he had this amazing rags to riches story because he grew up in the slums, like the projects of Palermo, essentially.
Mm.
And at that time, he was like one of the few Sicilians to have ever represented Italy on the national stage for the national team. And there was like a lot of like racist insults hurled at him by the rest of his countrymen, like, you
Mm.
know, um like really, really terrible things. So for me as a 6-year-old, seeing someone that not only shares my first name, but is like making headlines around the world in a sport that nobody in this country gives a shit about. But like he was on the like he was like a thing on the news because his celebrations were epic and his eyes would like bulge out of his head. And he'd run with his arms in the air like a V, and it was amazing. And suddenly it's like, yeah, put respect on the name. But it was also like something I saw what it meant to my family with all of us being Sicilian. I
Mm.
saw what he meant to my father, to my uncles, to my grandparents, to my extended family, to my cousins. Like he represented something that was far bigger than him. He represented us and the other Sicilians of the diaspora. Of course, at 6 years old, you're not fucking thinking that. You're thinking like, oh, this is like the best player because everybody in my family loves him. And
Yeah,
then you
right.
start like really, as you get older, you realize like what that impact was and why he was so loved. And it was great. And like that was essentially it. And Scalacci, I told you I was going to answer short, but that's not fucking happening. But like Scalacci was playing for Juventus. Everybody in my family are Juventus fans. I fucking hate Juventus. I have nothing against Juventus supporters. I just don't like that team. It's kind of like the LA Lakers. I hate them. It's that's just how it is.
Hey, yeah, bees like that.
That yeah, whatever. So it's like so Scalacci was playing at Juve after the '90 World Cup. He leaves Juventus, and I don't know if it's because I misunderstood an uncle of mine who has a very thick broken English, very thick Italian accent and speaks in broken English. I don't remember if he said in Milan or Inter Milan, because we only referred to Inter as Inter, not Inter Milan. We just referred
Mm.
to him as Inter, and AC Milan is Milan. That's it. So um Rye would be on public access TV, and on Sundays you would get like they would do like Italian Day. They would do like a broadcast from the Vatican, and then they would just show like some random ass game
Mm.
from like weeks ago. Like it was you weren't watching a match live. Like it was like
Yes.
from like a month prior. Okay, so I'd watch and I'm thinking like, oh, he's in Milan, and I would see the red and black AC Milan team, and I'd watch Maldini and Baresi and the Flying Dutchman, and I was Ancelotti, and I watch him in awe and be like, "Holy shit, this team is unbelievable." It was like watching the Chicago Bulls, not because they were in red and black, but like when you watch the Bulls versus any other team of that era, it's like there's poetry that whether or not
Mhm.
you love the Bulls or not, there was a poetry on that court. For me, that was AC Milan, Arrigo Sacchi's AC Milan. So I would actually watch these games and naively think that like this team is so good, they don't even need my guy. Like he's probably on the bench. Like why isn't he ever starting? And then years later, he leaves Italy to go be an ambassador and play in Japan in the J League when they're getting that ready. And you know, I come to find out that like he was at Inter Milan the whole time. He was at the rival. In theory, I should be an Inter fan. I'm not. And in a weird way, I always say that like AC Milan picked me. I didn't pick them. So yeah, it's been a love affair with the devil for 30 some odd years. So here we are.
I love it, especially with it happening because of uh uh a crazy game of football telephone. Did he say
Yeah, that's
and
exactly what it is. And again, there was no internet. There's no
yeah,
internet. There's no like I'm not going on to get fucking scores of third division, the way you can now. I'm not doing there
yeah,
wasn't
right.
none of that. It was all word of mouth. It was like, oh, and you had to believe and again, you taught as a young kid, respect your elders, listen to them. They're smart, they know what's up. And by all accounts, like my uncle was and is, and like I just misunderstood him because I was a kid and didn't question it because I was like, oh, all right, cool. Like I'm just gonna cheer for this team now, and that's it.
Hey, and you followed through. Look at you. You followed through.
Look at us now, baby. Look at us now.
uh, do you have what is your origin story with Well, I guess that you told it. Look at you. You actually did. You answered 2 questions. Look at you. Look at
I did my
you.
homework. I mean, look, man, I forgot my answer to the first question, so I had to like really step up my game and just like burn through a couple. You have an
Well,
audience. They have lives. You have lives. You have a voice you need to save. Look, I'm trying to multitask here.
hey, I appreciate you because I'm gonna just go on my couch and rewatch Raw because I definitely fell asleep when I was trying to watch it last night.
Oh,
Like,
okay, all right.
I basically just crash. Well, because I have a wrestling podcast, so I should be watching these things. And technically, tonight is NXT that I'm missing, and fucking Sexy Red is on it. And I know she did some ridiculous stuff on it live that I'm not going to be able to watch on Hulu when it's replayed. So shout out to Twitter for having everything recorded.
Yo, but like, there's been like some weird, like, because I saw like Liv Morgan like made out with some other wrestler
Mm-hmm.
on camera on Raw last night, and I was just like, damn. That's it. That's the extent of my wrestling for you.
Oh
That's
yeah,
it.
oh yeah, and she's from New Jersey, New Jersey's own.
Yep.
Yep, that
So
makes sense.
representing the tri-state area. So there you go.
All-time favorite player from AC Milan and why?
Oh, he's like, why am I like sitting here like I'm contemplating? No, there's the only one answer. Andrea Pirlo. Andrea Pirlo is just my favorite player ever. We had him for 10 years. We chose not to fucking re-sign him, and he went to the evil empire, and he talks about like the 5 years that he spent at Juve. He talks about as if like
I know,
the
right?
greatest time of his life. And it's like, you spent 10 years with us and you won 2 Champions League trophies and how many Scudetti? But no, and a World Cup during that era too, just point that out. I mean, he is the complete polar opposite of everything I am. I'm loud, I'm obnoxious, I got a lot of anxiety, I'm very insecure, and he's just always collectively fucking cool. And he makes football look easy. And that's the hardest thing to do. That is the hardest, like, that's a master of his craft. And I think the
Mm-hmm.
only other person I've seen do that, I mentioned him earlier, but Andreas Iniesta for sure, Baggio, absolutely. And those are some of my favorite players. You know, the guys that use the field as a canvas rather than a place to play a sport. And I think to me, like, that's just brilliant. That is a level of coolness and self-confidence that I'm never gonna have. But that I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I love things that are opposite. And good juxtapositions, and that's it. It's kind of like when you're a Formula One driver, right? And you're in that car and you're going at those top speeds, like, you can't really think. You just got to do it. And those guys just do it.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, you definitely have no time.
And
Well,
Andrea Pirlo to me is like the definite, and he is like the master of it all. Like, he to me is like, that's the guy. That is the guy. And yeah, and like, look, there are players that have kind of come close to him, but like no one has matched it. So
all right. So from an earlier chat, I got some Oasis songs I needed to check out, and then you, Andre Pirlo, and then let's see. I feel like there was another thing that I was supposed to like check out that someone gave me on, but I just have notes on notes on notes.
your
On
whole
notes.
life is a notebook.
It's millions of notebooks. I have like just like a box of my notebooks. Like if I went through it, it would just be my random thoughts that I've had over the last like 4 or 5 years.
I get it. You know, they make drugs for these sort of things too, so you don't have to like keep like feel like, you know, shout out to like, you know, good not I'm not talking like street drugs. I'm not saying like,
I
oh,
know what you're
you
saying.
make ecstasy for this, you should be fucking doing that. No. I'm saying like, you know, like maybe like take a little Lexapro, calm the fucking nerves a
I
little
am
bit.
calm.
Oh, good. I'm not saying but it's like, you know, the fucking bone punks a little like, you know, like,
No,
and like
I need a. It's just like I have this list of questions for me to ask, but
Oh,
if I
I'm
don't
thinking
want to
like
ask,
no.
then I can
Oh,
then we can know, I can vary out. But it's a lot of it's like notes from shows, it's notes, it's thoughts, it's uh plans for past events and future things, and yeah,
I
it's
get.
just
Look,
my
I'm busting balls because I do the same thing. But that note looks like a serial killer notebook. Like it
oh
just
no,
looks.
it's definitely there's no lines.
Yeah,
It's just scribble. It's
it's
just
just not,
scribble.
dude.
It's just scribble.
It's just like that looks like a serial killer notebook. It's like blood type, hair brown.
This page literally just says like MLS Red Bulls bet you this. That's it. Yeah, it's just like a few
That's
words, and I
it.
was like, all right, I'm done with this page. I
I'm
mean,
done with that page.
I'm done with that
Next,
page.
next. Yeah. No, it looks like a serial killer book. That's what I'm saying. Like, you okay? It's
Yes,
okay. It's okay. It's okay to not be okay. I'm
I
always
have.
talking about.
I just have many thoughts.
Don't we all? Okay, now I've got more thoughts than I had entering this thing. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Who is a current player on any team in any league that you want to watch anytime they are playing?
It's the kid who I want to come to AC Milan when he's like 100. It's Kylian Mbappe for sure. No, it definitely no. It's definitely Mbappe. And I never bought into the hype of Jude Bellingham until
Mm,
this past season. And Christ Almighty, the two of them on one. If Mbappe does go to Madrid, the two of them on one team, I think is going to be the most champagne thing we'll ever. It's just
I'm gonna hate it.
I know, and by all account, I should hate it, but like Bellingham is so good.
Vinny, Jude, Camavinga, like just all of them. We call them on our pod, Los Negros.
Yeah,
Like they're gonna be killer. They're gonna be
and,
killer.
and it's also on top of it, it's going to be Modric's probably last season, so it's like again another artist. So it's just I sit here as a fan of this game, chomping at the bit to see what Bellingham and Mbappe will look like together because I think it's going to be gorgeous. Or it could be PSG circa fucking Messi,
Yeah.
Neymar, Mbappe, Verratti from a couple of seasons ago. So it could be a disaster. It's going to sink or swim. But those are definitely two. As a Chelsea fan, I gotta say I'm coming around to Cole Palmer, but I definitely think knowing how Chelsea operates is he's a good player, we're gonna sell him. So I'm not getting too attached. It's just the fact of the matter.
Fair.
I will say though that this season, there was a City kid that really blew my face off, and and I was quite impressed with him, and that's Phil Foden.
Hey,
It's
let's
hard for me to give
go.
it's hard for me to give Phil his flowers because of that fucking haircut. I can't take a man serious when he's got a haircut like that. I can't.
That's
Like just
Stockport. That's Stockport. If you walk
dude.
through Stockport, they all look like that.
Well, I ain't taking that town serious then. That's it. Like, y'all can cure cancer, find the cure for AIDS. I'm still not taking you serious. Like it's just I can't get behind someone with a haircut like that. But he's incredible. And again, like, yeah, he's just naming world class athletes, no shit. But like those guys are world class for a reason.
Mm.
Again, the British media had pumped Bellingham up so much that I hated him. I was just like, this kid, like, I can't wait for him to go to Spain. He's gonna fucking fall apart. There's no way he's gonna be this good. And like, if they win Champions League against Dortmund, that Ballon d'Or has got to go in his hands. Like
Yeah,
that's
it's
it.
definitely is.
I mean, it's definitely his. And
Mhm.
he's floored me. He's floored me. Um, so yeah, I mean, those are definitely like the folks that are making me like tune in for
Yeah,
sure.
and it's funny. I called it basically right after Haaland lost out to Messi. I was just like, "Hey, Haaland," because my thing was last year because people were like, "Man, if Haaland comes, does that mean KDB can win the Ballon d'Or?" And I was like, "No, it's going to be the other way around. It's going to be Haaland who's going to steal it from KDB, and then Messi shot came, and then immediately after, I was like, wow, Haaland's never gonna win because obviously Jude's winning because he's going to he went he went to Real, as I was about to say Milan.
Wish,
He,
wish.
right? He went to Real, and obviously the success came, and the more that the success, and then he had fucking is doing the arms, so it's just like everything about it says Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
And maybe next year, but even then, I still feel like it's gonna be Mbappe. It's still gonna be somebody from Real Madrid, and I feel that's why Bellingham extra really wanted to go to Real Madrid. He knew, yeah, I got this real crew of super dope dudes who look like me. They're talented like me. I can also win, and just win trophies, trophy after trophy after trophy.
And look, the other thing too is, he's getting managed by, I
In
think,
the
the greatest
English media.
manager of all time. I think Ancelotti is not only my favorite manager of all time, I think he's the greatest manager of all time.
Mm.
I firmly do. I think his philosophy is incredible because I also love the fact that, like,
No man
anytime
of
he
Everton.
speaks, oh yeah, unless you're a Napoli or Everton supporter, there might be, some like harsh words here. But whenever that man speaks, there's a wisdom that comes out that he can back up. But he also, I love his maturity to understand, and he'll be very candid about his mistakes when he first started out. So when he was a manager at Parma, he was offered Roberto Baggio, and he turned down Baggio because he's like, nah, I'm only going 4-4-2. I don't want you in a number 10 role the way you know how to play number 10. And like didn't adapt. Um Goes to Juventus and has Zidane and is just like, fuck, I need to like adapt to you, and then learned like, oh, I should be adapting to my strongest player, not the other way around. And I think that's why he's had success. That's why every major player loves him. Ronaldo loves him. Vinny loves him. Uh, it's that's why um you know, Pirlo, of course, Clarence Seedorf, Shevchenko. It's a murderer's row of rosters of every Maldini, who will come out of the woodwork and say, like, this guy is like my dad. He is like the greatest coach I've ever played under and played for. Because he also goes to battle for his players. Like, if you do right by me, I'll do right by you. And that's it.
Mhm.
So, I think also like the fact that Madrid doesn't have a it has a steady coach, and I think that says a lot in 2024, where we're seeing that this is the summer of round robin managers. Like, who's going where? I'm
Mhm.
more excited about the managers on what bench are they going to replace, like who's going where. The fact that like Guardiola now is just like, I'm done after next season. It's like, oh well, now it's immediately like,
Hey,
oh,
hey, that hasn't been founded yet. You were still spewing gossip, sir. Please do not do that.
allegedly
Thank
said,
you. Thank you. Thank you.
allegedly
Thank you.
said.
Thank you.
But imagine though, it's like, but they're already, the Sharks are already swimming like, oh, I want the
Mhm.
City job, or who can get the City job,
Mhm.
and a steady manager says a lot. It brings success, good or bad. Like, look, Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool for the last 9 years was tremendous, and it brought them things that they hadn't seen in a while, and it brought love and fun back to that club. Uh, Gasparini, another one, old man, crotchy old man at Atalanta, has been doing this for so long, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, and finally wins. And his tactics are he is a difficult manager. He's a difficult human being. The players do not speak of him the way they do Ancelotti, but they understand that, like, oh, I've never played this good in my career. So maybe this guy knows what he's talking about. It's one of those weird things, and he's been such a North Star for that club, for that tiny club in Bergamo, Italy, that it's attracting players that have been on the fringe of other clubs, big and small clubs around Europe. Their
Mhm.
scouts, I think, are the greatest in the world. They truly are. Um, like, it's an incredible thing what they're doing, but what he gets them to do. And again, a steady manager is a huge deal. It's huge. Um, you also want to change before it gets too stale. So I think Jurgen Klopp leaving is at the right time. Max Allegri getting sacked at Juventus just before the end of the season. He was there, his second stint for how many years? It was more than enough time for him to go. Same thing with Stefano Pioli leaving at Milan. 5 years, brought us a championship, brought us to a Champions League semifinal. Things we hadn't seen in a long time. So it's like, I thank you for what you did, but now it's getting stale. We need to move on. So, this summer is going to be a lot of that. Next year, though, allegedly Guardiola saying, I'm going to take a little sabbatical again. We'll see. But but like, again, like that could also be unless they get, I mean, look, it's City, they will get a top guy. But that could be a hindrance to a lot of players. Like it's like if let's just say City decides to go the young route and it's not an exciting young manager, I could see players dipping. I could see players that they were thinking about going now turning around being like, nah, I don't want to go there no more. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
going
fair.
to be, and I think that's like what we're going to see moving forward, and it's going to be interesting.
No, that's definitely a conversation to be had, but not now. Not doing it.
Allegedly.
and, and we will. Do you have a match day routine or football superstition?
Yeah, football superstition is routine. No, because I'm married and I blame it on because like when I was single, I used to have a routine and you just be like, get up, sit in the sweats all fucking day long, watch games until you couldn't anymore, go to the gym, come home, get ready, go out. Happily married 5 years, no more routine, but definitely the superstition, definitely. And this comes also for the Italian national team, especially with the national team because they don't play every week. I will not wear any sort of swag, memorabilia, color. No, I'll wear the color. But anything that has like an AC Milan crest or says Milan or Milano, won't wear it. Same thing with the Azzurri. I will not wear an Italian national jersey or track jacket. I'll wear the color blue, but I'm not doing that. Because I feel like if I do, I curse them.
On match day, you said? Wow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
2006 World Cup, I had this. This also speaks to the era, okay? I had an Armani Exchange soccer jersey. Also speaks to where I'm from on the fucking planet, okay? I had an Armani Exchange soccer jersey that was blue that said Veloce on it. Anytime Italy played, I wore this crusty ass, fake ass Bogart jersey. That was real. It was a real like AX jersey. But like they weren't fucking. They didn't have a team. But like I wore it because it was blue because I was like I'm not wearing it. The day Italy in 06 plays the U.S. team. Okay, it was the Team US. I put my fucking Italian jersey on. I'm all excited. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna fucking house these guys. Like McBride, please give me a break. You think you're gonna fucking put like 5 past us, Landon Donovan? Yeah, okay. Deal with Buffon. I'm talking all this shit, and we tied 1-1. And we felt so bad for the U.S. that we scored for them. De Rossi broke McBride's nose, which I also have an issue with, like bringing players that have incidents with other players on as pundits on a national. Because anytime like he's on Fox to talk about national teams, and anytime Italy comes up, he like has to like remind everybody he doesn't like them. It's like, okay, you don't like us, that's fine. We have 4 World Cups. It's okay. You have
I
a
think we
broken
know
nose.
who won.
One of the
I think
greatest
we know
players
who
of
won
all
here.
time. One of the greatest fucking midfielders of all time broke your nose. You should be privileged that he fucking touched you. That's how I feel. But no, so like that day I put on and we lost and we tied. So from there on in, I'm like, nope, never again. So that entire World Cup, I wore the same AX jersey to the point that like it was literally falling apart by the final. I'm like holding it by threads. And it stank. I refused to wash it. I refused to do like all those things. It smelled so bad, dude. That game ended. We won. I threw that thing right in the trash. And yeah, and like, you know, now it's like, I'm like, or as my wife says, she's like, what does it even matter? You don't even qualify for World Cups anymore. Like, why don't you just wear it? It's like, you're right, I should. But this summer's the Euro. We'll see what happens. The squad looks interesting. So,
Hey, and final question of the show, the elevator pitch. If you have 30 seconds to prop up your club, talk someone into becoming a supporter, rocking that red and black, what would you say? And go.
seven, count them, 7 Champions League titles, okay? 19 Italian championships, the Scudetti, 19 of them. The most handsome players of all time. Olivier Giroud, Andrei Shevchenko, Paolo Maldini, walking God, okay? You're in the city of Milan. It's fashion, it's sex, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's everything that you want and more. Oh, and by the way, we just happen to be really good at what we do. That's it. Done. 30 seconds.
Shady Gang, please give it up for please let our viewers, our listeners know where and how they can find you, follow you on social media.
I'm at Curva Mundial Pod on Twitter or X, whatever it's called this week. And same Curva Mundial Pod on Instagram. You can also find Curva Mundial Pod, as I said, on the good services. What did I say earlier? The good service. So it's the good streaming services, not on fucking bad ones.
None of those bad ones.
No. But you can find us on Spotify, Apple, Good Pods. We used to be on Google. Google Podcast went away. RIP. They're not a good one. See, Google couldn't keep that shit together. Like that's messed up. Like I didn't think that could happen.
Right.
I mean, you know, Stitcher. I think Stitcher's gone. I don't know, but like we're on all the good ones. Just go to anchor.fm/curva-mundial and you'll see a whole list of all the things on the social media sites. We have a link tree. Click on the link tree and it'll take you to wherever you need to go. And you get deals for listening to the show. We got some good sponsors. We got some great sponsors. We don't have good sponsors. We have great sponsors.
Great sponsors. Yes.
I felt very much like the fucking president who is on trial for a million things. I'm not doing that. We have great sponsors. I didn't mean to do that way. It's, you know, but.
Oh my goodness. Well, Shady Gang, you know I will be back very shortly in a day or two with a new episode with another fantastic guest and just talking some football. But until then, you know the vibes. Shady Gang, Shady Gang, Shady Gang.